never satisfecho.
rid of it and he won't. Great pursuit on the backside, and Rasul Douglas comes up with the third sack of the day for the Mountaineers.
As they see across the league, and some of these defenses, in particular West Virginia.
He's looking for another touchdown throw, and instead it's going to be intercepted. Rasul Douglas with his second pick of the night.
Well, coaching staffs told me that Rasul Douglas has an extremely high IQ for the game.
West Virginia didn't have its best defense out there for Youngstown State as they rush Hill again. It is intercepted. Picked off by West Virginia's Rasul Douglas, and he is gone. They rush 4. Ertz has time. Goes deep into coverage. And it looks like it's picked off. Yes, it is. Intercepted by Rasul Douglas.
The Daily. Clark able to step up, and it's knocked away. Looking this time for Trevor Ryan. Rasul Douglas, we spent a lot of time earlier today talking about Douglas, one of the best defensive backs of the nation.
They rush 5, Hill in the pocket, throws an interception. Picked off by Douglas. Tracked down from behind at the 35-yard line. 2 takeaways already for the Mountaineers.
Guessed right on that one, but Williams beat it.
The fade to the far corner of the end zone. Hollins tipped it in the air and then came down with it for a touchdown. The pass interference is on Deontay Austin of Wake. And so Hollins with the highlight reel touchdown is second of the day. And so now the Tar Heels have a 22-6-yard line for Carolina. Play action for Williams. He wants the bomb again. It's there! On time! Mac Hollins! Touchdown! To the left side of the line. Carolina going left to right here in the second quarter. Williams looking for the deep ball. Hollins there. Touchdown. Carolina.
On the right. Now with time. Looking deep for Hollins. He makes the grab. Touchdown, North Carolina. The junior out of Rockville makes another big play. 53 yards, and that's an answer.
Well, they're only going to rush 4 on 3rd down and 5. Trying to play coverage, and on the slant, it is caught. Mac Hollins, the big play Tar Heel, takes it in for a touchdown.
Great protection, looking long for Pumphrey. He's got him for the touchdown. So we saw Pumphrey run 13 yards, and now he scores on a 38-yard catch. And boy, you think of the mistakes, David. The block punt, and this time the offsides penalty, keeping the drive alive.
Pitch to Pumphrey. There he goes. Donnell Pumphrey. Gone. 72 yards.
He's in there, number 72 at right guard. Hand off, Pumphrey, right side, turns the corner, and walks into the end zone.
We'll find out tomorrow who those final four teams are. Noon Eastern time. Wide open. Touchdown, Pumphrey.
And we're talking about this kid would fit in nicely on the map. Pumphrey, he's going to throw it to Gordon, who pile drives his way towards the pylon and scores a touchdown.
He's for the tailback at a second and goal. Smith, gift to Pumphrey, trying to bring it left. He has the space and the end zone. Touchdown, San Diego State.
He's going to block for Pumphrey. He set it up all along for DJ Pumphrey.
story altogether. Allen throws another interception. That's Gary, his 10th career pick. And he's taken down at the 39-yard line by the quarterback, Allen, beforehand. Another interception, that's number 5, the second by Gary, and the 11th of his Nebraska career.